Welcome to the Outside the Business Boxes podcast, where we're talking about how to ignite your business today for the future using systems for everything you do in your business to make your life, your employees' lives, and your customers' lives easier for you to ultimately enjoy your business and, of course, make more money. I'm your host, Chad Murray. Thanks for listening to Outside the Business Box podcast. I am Chad Murray, your host, maybe the most, maybe not the most, I don't know, but I have a guest today who I believe has become a very good mentor friend of mine, and I think we'll agree we've struck up a good friendship. It's the great Chuck Hall. Hey, Chuck.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
So we just got on the Zoom call here. We're recording, and I cannot go outside and smoke a cigar with Chuck. But Chuck is, if you're watching on YouTube, he's got a fat one on right now, and I would love to go outside, but the sound's not good enough out there. So I am smoking again, though. I will tell you, after the COVID, I now can smoke, 2 or 3, maybe 4 a week, and so it doesn't hurt me. Yeah, so I'm back, baby. I'm back.
I love it.
So for the people that, and I don't know who I wouldn't, but there are other people that listen to my podcast. I'm actually getting around 160 to 200 downloads a week now, which is, hey, for me, not bad, and there's a good core of them that are not in the chimney industry. So Chuck, tell us who you are.
So my name is Chuck Hall. I run a business called Winston's Chimney Service out of the Washington, D.C. Metro. We call ourselves a small construction company that specializes in fireplaces in chimneys. We did $8 million in sales last year. We've got about 50 employees, and we're doing about 80% residential and 20% commercial jobs. So we're putting a fireplace in Reagan International Airport right now. We've got a couple that just went in Catholic University. We're doing a few more. Anything that is more than a 2-person dwelling, we call it commercial. So if we're going to go put in 20 fireplaces in a complex, we'll call that commercial. If we're going to put a bunch of chase covers on, we'll call that commercial. That's kind of how we divide it up.
So tell us about how you got into the chimney industry.
It's kind of strange. I was selling advertising time for Easy 97.1 FM in Washington, D.C. That's what I did when I got out of college. I mean, I wanted to get into advertising. Then I did an internship in an advertising agency, and the young woman that was there, a friend of my uncle, said, "You don't want to be in an ad agency. You want to be in sales. You want to sell TV or radio." So I did internships at radio stations on my breaks. And then, so I had a job when I got out of school, and I started working, did that for about 1.5 years. We went through, the radio industry went through something called a deregulation. So CBS, Clear Channel, all these companies were allowed to own one radio station. When they deregulated it, they could own as many as they wanted. So these guys came in, they bought my radio station, they put us together, they wiped out middle management. We went from what I called the Irish Mafia at the time, which is some awesome guys, where we were running and gunning and partying and making money, to they were gone, and we had horrible managers there. Long story short, a buddy of mine named Marty Fuller, who started a company called National Chimney Supply. He was partners with this guy Winston at the time, and this was 1989. And he said, "Hey, come and work for me. You hate what you're doing. I need window washers right now." They had a window washing company, a gutter installation company, and a chimney company, and they're running it out of Bethesda, Maryland. And he said, "I need window washers. You're fat. You've been drinking too much. You're pasty. Come work for me." And I did, and I broke every record that was ever set in that company for amount of windows washed, aftermarket sales, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I was at Sugar Ray Leonard's house, Linda Carter's house, senators and congressmen, and they had these huge houses that need their windows washed. And that's what we did. And I did that for the summer. I had a great time. and they said, hey, you ought to start your own company and then use our name, and then we'll set you up in Northern Virginia, and you can have, the Virginia territory. We'll help you run it. You can have your own business. So I went into it to start a business, not because I was into chimneys or I had learned chimneys. I got 40 hours of training over the next 3 months in sweeping chimneys, crowns, and caps.
Yeah.
And about 40 hours in how to install gutters and how to clean them and etc. And then off I went with a Chevy Astro van and a list of clients, window washing clients. And that's how I got started. And 90 grand the first year, and 270 grand the next year, and 400 grand the next year. And I just put my foot on the pedal and went for it.
God damn, it sounds it's like almost exactly my story. It is.
There's
it's
some
like
weird, there's some weird things.
It's like creepy that it's so similar that I got out of the military, was a restaurant manager, and then found the window washing industry, left that, started washing windows, did a little pressure washing, not much, a little bit, got, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm in the chimneys, and your sales was exactly mine. Like 90 my first year, 250 the next year. Like I think I was around 350, 400 the next, and then boom, right up to $1 million. I mean, I was in $1 million in less than 5 years easy. And then just have been muffling from $1 million to $4 million ever since.
Not me. It took me a while to get to $1 million. Took me years to get to $1 million. Took me a lot of years. And I don't even think I was at $1 million in 2001.
Wow.
Because because we were hanging out at this, 800. And I remember, I don't remember because I have selective memory. I remember what I want to remember.
Yeah.
I have selective memory, but I remember falling off the roof in 2001, and we did December 12th, and I was on crutches for 9 months of the following year, and we did 650 that following year. And so it was horrible. And that was one of the things that people ask me, well, why did you want to build such a big company? And I think there's a couple of different reasons. And I think it's the scare that I had in 2001. And it's similar to the story that Mark Stoner tells. And he's just another guy in our industry who's ultra successful. And I call him the darling of our industry. He's phenomenal, but he fell off the roof as well. And when that happens to you, there's some weird things that happen. And one of the things is I'm never going to get caught, unprepared like that again. And so I just kept my foot on the pedal, and, we were going to do 10 million this year until, the economy happened, and then the dog ate my homework. So now I might have to readjust it. Swear to God, I'll be happy if we hit, 8.2 million.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've ever talked so much about my story. I almost died too when that appendix ruptured. So that's my fall off the roof story. Same thing. And that was the day, or the not the day, but within that year, I was like, okay, I got to build a business that doesn't rely on me. It's
right.
It's 100% doesn't rely on me. And I may have done it a little too early and walked out a little too early, but I love my life. It is what it is. And we're see, until right now, we're actually up for the year. And so we're tracking 5.5 this year all right now. So we're like awesome. Now, I just, like we talked earlier, we've hit a break. We've hit the brakes this week. This week is actually a little, if you can see me on YouTube, I'm pounding my chest. I'm a little anxious about the future in the next couple of weeks. But I mean, that's another thing you talk about. I'm prepared for this kind of stuff. So it's not, I don't just run a business and go, oh, we have a bad week, I'm screwed. So, there's preparation for, the ups and downs of owning a business, financially.
Well, I tell people, do as I say, not as I did. I'm not in as great a cash position as you are. I did it wrong for 24 years. I'm a slow learner. I'm a slow learner, buddy. I did not accumulate the wealth that you did. I didn't do it as well as you did. Um, I didn't start making money for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
We made money. I went on vacations with my kids and wife and blah, 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 blah. And we did that, but I didn't do good at socking money away. I didn't do all those things that smart business people do. I'm doing them now. And I'm a slow learner.
I mean, my biggest thing is when I got my first line of credit, it was like I utilized that line of credit perfectly to be able to save money. So it was a skill I accidentally learned to leverage that to be able to save money. So I'd use that line of credit in the bad season, but I'd still be paying it off, but kind of eating itself. But I had a financial security with it. I didn't have to like worry about, oh shit, we're gonna have a bad week or even a bad month. And then I would stock money as I kept going up. And then COVID made me a millionaire almost, that was easy. But before that, I was doing, let's say $3 million a year, and I had 400 grand in the bank. That's not bad. It's not a bad cash. It's not a bad little security blanket,
Yeah. I think I was doing 6 million by the time I had accumulated 400,000 in cash.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that we did wrong. And I remember, having conversations with Jerry Eisenhower a long time ago when we used to work, and he's like, you're on the verge of greatness and disaster at the same time. And that's one of the problems is I was always chasing after the sales to make up for the fast growth and the not good, solid financial planning. So when people tell me that they're running their overhead low and everything, and I say, that's perfect. That's exactly what you do. I didn't do that, and I was able to buy a building, which is part of, going to be part of my retirement. And that's going to help out. I was able to do some things, but, that cost me 425,000 in cash.
Just wrote a check for $250,000 and just got my property. Just wrote a big old fat. I still have anxiety about that transfer. Everybody's telling me it's the best deal I did for my business and everything. It's like, okay, that's great, but I just lost $250,000 of security, walked out the door, and so I'm a cash hound. I am. And everyone's telling me there's a point you need to invest it. And this was the first advice I took. And my cousin's my real estate agent, and he's awesome. And he's one of my best friends. And he told me, I don't buy that deal. He's buying the property. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, then I guess I better go through, because I almost backed out of it twice. And he's like, no, it's 5 acres, dude, 3 miles or 7 minutes from your place right now in the country with a house you can turn into an office. It's like, are you kidding me? It's perfect. And so, yeah. And so, so we did it. So we got about $50,000 worth of upkeep we got to do on it to turn it into where we can use it. But my rent is going to went from $7,000 a month to my mortgage of $2,600 a month.
You know what my mortgage is? 16,000.
So you really hate the idea that I'm paying $2,600 for 5 acres.
Well, we're in different markets. I only have 3 acres, but I got a 17,000 square foot building on the property. But it's just the difference between DC and, outside of Dallas. I don't know. It's just expensive here. But that's the deal. When, if and when we sell the business, they have to rent the property. And, by that time it'll be 20,000, 25,000 a month in rent. And that's what they're going to be paying me.
Right.
So,
no. Hey, I'm actually,
that's why they pay you to do it.
Well, I'm taking 2 of the acres and turn it into a RV spot, an RV, just parking, not not living. I don't want people living there. It's just your park boat and RV parking. It's going to make me around 7-8 grand a month. I don't need that part of the land. I mean, lay some gravel out and put a gate in there. That's all I have to do. You know,
I love it. That's
I
very
know,
smart.
I do too. And so let's talk business. So, okay, so you're 8 million, you wanted to be 10, either way, you got to 8. What do you think seriously? You know, because I think in your story that I've heard before, and you just telling me, you hovered at like where I am for a long time, 4 million, didn't you? Didn't you like stay kind of stuck at 4 million for a while?
No, I was stuck in the twos and the 1800 twos. You know, then it got to, 2.5, 3, then 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6.7, 6.7 to 6.5 in COVID, and then 6.5 to 8.2.
So what was your biggest factor in letting that happen?
A couple things happened. We hired back a guy who is our top salesman, Ryan Hall. And we hired him back in like 2015. He used to work with me when he was from like 18 to 22 years old. And then he got into some trouble. And so we had to let him go. And then he came, I kept tabs on him. I heard when, he hit 750 in sales, and my guys were, 4.5, 500,000 in sales. Then I heard he hit 900. And then I saw him and said, "Hey, Ryan, it's time to come home." and what happened, we were an eat what you kill organization, and meaning that we had trucks that went out and they estimated jobs. They inspected fireplace chimneys, wrote the estimates, and then they'd go back and do the work.
Yep.
Eat what you kill. That's what I call it.
Yep.
And he came in and he said, "I should probably just sell, because if I just sell, I'm going to be able to keep some trucks busy." And he did. And he sold $1 million that year, and he's gone up in sales, and he sold 2.5 million last year in sales. And I've got a couple other guys that are hovering around $1 million, $1.25 million, and then some guys right below there, because, high tide raises all ships.
Yep.
We've got a good sales process. We're in a different market than a lot of other people. So that's the other factor when people say those numbers are huge. Everything is relative. The Washington, D.C. metro is one of the most expensive markets in the country. Anyone that is in New York or San Francisco, they understand it's inflated. Everything is inflated. Prices are inflated. Everything is. So they seem like, really big numbers, and they are, but some of that is that it's inflated. And then we started to look at his process and say, we should probably duplicate it because it makes sense. Just like if you're, talking to these guys that are lawyers, they don't do anything except produce. They've got people in the office that take care of everything else. All they are is billing. And if you've got people that are good in sales, but they have to be in our business, they have to be good inspectors. That's first. Inspectors first, and the sales come second. And believe me, I've tried to take sales guys and turn them into chimney guys. I haven't had good luck with that. So I am taking good inspectors and good chimney guys, and I'm, trying to make them salespeople. And I call them salespeople. And that's when we even use the bad word commission in my organization.
Go back 5 podcasts to me. I have the podcast on the dirty word, and it's not a dirty word for me. I love salespeople and I love commission, and that does not diminish my inspections. That does not diminish how I do my work. It's that I accidentally. So that's the big thing that happened with me when I was stuck at the 2 million. I was stuck at 2 to 2.5 million a long time. To break into the 3 over 3 and 3.5 was when I did what you did with Ryan. I separated it. I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. I separated the eat what you kill and started training sales guys. Now, what I didn't have was a great process of really training them. It was really a shitty process. And I did not have a good process. Like you were lucky. Ryan knew what he was doing, had it down. I knew how I could sell. I was an easy 1.5 to 2 million guy sell because I did it. I'm the one that got us to 2 million. And then I took myself off the road, hired 3 guys to replace me. And boy, what a kind of a trudge that was. And then I was managing the business, and I finally, it wasn't, Chuck, I didn't really have good salesmen till 4 years ago.
I hear you.
I mean, and I have Cody now, who, as a manager last year, half the year he was in management, half the year was sales, and he still did 900 grand.
It's incredible.
I mean, 900, and we have 2 new guys that are going to do $1 million this year. And so it's like,
Fantastic.
I mean, absolutely. And so when I try to tell people that are listening to this podcast, or just trying to tell people I know, as a small business, it's cliche, your people, but you have to get the mindset that you have to train them right, and you have to hire the right people for the position. And most people don't get that. It's like, I'm sorry, you don't just go hire a guy that can do a great crown to sell a mortar crown. It does not work. If you want to scale your business from 3 trucks to 6, go find 2 guys who can sell the shit out of chimney stuff, and then put the other guys to work and find them helpers. That's how you do it. You keep doing this eat to kill stuff. It's this slinky effect, and they're never going to be good at what they do. And so
I will say this, though. I will say, if you want to maintain control, then you stay with eat what you kill. I have been accused over and over again, for years, of saying that everybody should have a big company. And that's not the truth. That is not the truth at all. I want people to have whatever size company that they want to meet their goals. And just like Simon Sinek says, start with the why.
Right.
Why? What do you want? Why are you doing this? For more time with your family, to make a lot of money so you can send your kids to college and you can retire, to, not break your back every single day. Some people, whatever why works for them. So maintaining control is easier with an eat what you kill setup. You lose control when you have salespeople that are selling and then installation crews doing the work. There is more chaos, 100%. And you have to have fantastic systems in place, but there still is going to be, it, just like I know it. If you've been out and you saw Mrs. Jones and you played with Scruffy, you knew that the back gate, the latch didn't work so well. There's a nosy neighbor over here that you already know about. You know all about how long everything's going to take. The fireplace is all there around the back. You already know all those things. You saw the equipment, realized I should probably bring a couple extra elbows for the water heater. Where now you're handing it off to somebody who has to complete a material list correctly so that everybody gets out to the job and everything gets done, and you have a completed job at the end of the day.
So you know how we handle this? Because I didn't have as much chaos. Don't get me wrong, there's still chaos. I'm not telling anyone we have a perfect company, because there is absolutely sometimes chaos, but our controlled chaos. I'm fortunate with my general manager coming that he was in the eat to kill thing, and then he got moved to crew, not sales guy. And so he did both jobs. He excelled in and is awesome at one of my best installers ever, and loyal and culture, all everything. And then my stepdad too. Those are the 2 guys. And then those are the 2 guys that run the company, and they come from the crew side. Really, I was always the sales side. So I just had to train sales guys. And my biggest thing to train the sales guys was notes, more notes. There's not enough notes here. Why isn't there another note here about everything you just said? the dog, the pipe, the latch, all that stuff. And it's still chaos when it comes to that little bit of a shift of the way you do it. But and so to tell you also, I have never said grow a big company. I've never told any of my clients that. I've never told people that. What I say is grow a company that doesn't rely on you. So you can have a 6-truck company that's only doing $1 million, but you could actually you could leave for a year or 6 months, or even a 2-week vacation, and the thing doesn't just collapse, right?
That's the key right there.
Yeah.
Is all you're looking for. And even guys like us aren't going to be able to completely relax until day number 4 or 5, and it's going to be hard for anyone to be able to do that when you got to work that muscle to start to relax. But you said something that made sense, back to how you train people. And one of the things that we do, and I'll give this nugget away for free.
Oh, exclusive, everybody. Hold on.
Is we make our sales guys, before they go into the field, they have to run an installation truck for a month.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where they came from. If they came up into sales, guess what? You got to go run a truck for a month before you're in here, because you're going to have to know all the things that are going to happen so that you don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. And even Cody said we got to do it. And it's like, I don't care if you do it, just hit your numbers. I don't care. Just, make sure the numbers are hit and rotate them in and out, just, whatever. But I mean, yeah. And so, but yeah, we were stuck at the 3 to 3.5 million for 4 or 5 years. I literally did. And then like when I first met you, in person, I thought my numbers were at like 4 million, 4.5 million. And I just had this inflated head thinking that that's what we were. And that was my goal. And I got my goal so stuck in my head that we were doing those numbers, because I manage my company weekly. I don't give a hoot at the end of the year, because it doesn't matter to me. I've always done the weekly thing. What my weekly number is. Did I hit this? Did I do that? And at the end of the year, let the accountants sort out the yearly thing. I didn't even care. And so that's kind of how I've always kind of managed the company. And when it came down to the fact when we were at the, up in Buffalo, it's like, oh shit, I got to divulge to everybody, I'm not a $500,000 million company. I'm really only a $3.5 to $3 million company. Oops. But it is,
which is a solid number. It's a solid number if you're making money.
Yeah. Except for 2020, I've never lost money. 2020 kicked our ass. It just was.
2020 is it'll be an asterisk. Barry Bonds used, steroid. Yeah. It's COVID.
Which was such a weird year, because we're getting all this PPP money, and then we got the ELD money, and it's like, so I have all this money, yet I'm not making any money, but I have all this money, and the whole world's like, sit home, wear mask. It was such a God, and we all lived it. I get it, but it was so weird.
I didn't get any of that EIDL money. I want some of that EIDL money.
Oh, man, it was nice.
Yeah, I got the PPP, and we're trying to get that employee retention tax credit.
I got it.
That's a lot of work.
I think we did it. We hired a company to help us do it.
Our fractional CFO is doing it, and that's, there's companies that'll do it for 16%. So anyone out there that's listening, you can hire a guy who'll do it for 16%, depending on the size of your company, 500,000 to $1.5 million. This is just a lot of money out there that you should, go ahead and pay the 16%.
We had a flat rate. We had a flat rate.
Yeah.
It was only like
whatever it is.
And so we're getting $300,000 in November from it. All the paper went through. We got the confirmation letter, and now it's just ghost. Now you're just done. You're just waiting, that nothing happens in the government that's going to kill this credit thing right now. Is all.
So you 2020, and then did you do it for 2021?
I think we only qualified for 21 because of the EIDL and the PPP and all that so I think we only qualified for the beginning, because we got our ass kicked and pounded into half of 21. So we only qualified for the beginning of 21, but we did not qualify for 2020. And so we ended up getting 300. I don't have it in the bank yet. And I am kind of counting on it, but I don't need it. So I'm kind of like, yeah.
Hey, we all do things like that.
Hey, anyone hand you 300 grand for making it through whatever. I mean, that's not bad money. So
It should never happen again. It
I
should
agree.
never, ever happen again.
I agree.
But if it does, give me my piece.
Yeah, if it does, keep that EI deal and PPP money coming.
Oh my God.
And so anyway, so okay. So Ryan was the catapult, right?
Right. So we started that process, and then we had to then train everybody on what is this process. So there's a certain amount of,
I'm sorry, 2015, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So we had to train these other, techs that this is what they should do. And it was hard to get them to do that. And then not everyone made it, and as a matter of fact, nobody that was there at that time is here now, except for Ryan.
Wow.
Because what happens is you grow away from those guys. You grow away from them. And I used to love all of the years that these guys had been with me. One of them is actually a manager now. One of them is actually a manager, but he's the only one that's left. But I had the most experienced guys for so long. It was incredible. The problem was they couldn't sell at that level. And we needed to bring on new people, and we needed to continue to train and yada, yada, yada. And now we're at a much higher level, and it's a younger group. So it's a younger group. These guys are younger. And I got to tell you, they don't know as much as my old guys did.
Yeah.
And they made mistakes like my old guys wouldn't have made. So we are going through growing pains with that. I mean, I have them all at a fire course this week. It's like, I don't forget how much, $12,000. I got 6 guys at a course all week to take one of the hardest certifications that I think is out there. One of the best ones. I'm a CSIA guy. I'm really behind the CSIA, and I think all education is good education, no matter where you're getting it. I don't care where you're getting it. You should get it.
By the way,
better inspector.
He is a former president of the CSIA, and I know people in the industry know that, but it's a pretty big organization. Chuck was president. So
that's
maybe
okay.
you don't care about it, but I think it's a pretty good notch on your belt. And so, I mean, yeah.
I was despised. Anytime you get into a leadership role, there are people that just are going to gun for you. And, some of those people are now aging out. Thank God. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You're not listening to your podcast for sure.
Probably not.
No, I'm happy to see them go.
Yeah. Well, here's something. You said something earlier, and it's something when I was clapping when you said it was when I first take over a new client, and I don't care what industry they are, I have to tell them and I have to prepare them that the people that you have now, they're not in the same mode you are. You're in growth mode, and you're in at least fix it mode. And a lot of the problems are because of you, but then a lot of the problems you've allowed, and now we're in the fix it mode. So you have to change your accountability, the way you treat people. And these people are not going to grow with you as you go on, as you learn. And I learned. My sales team was turned over every 18 months. Every 18 months, I turned it over every 18 months. And now we're still there. So the guys that I hired last June, Cody's the only one. Well, he was already here. We don't have any of those guys that are with us today, just from last year. We've already turned them all over. I mean, just because they got to get their numbers and culture, and they were the wrong hires. We started disking everybody, started doing a way better process of interviewing. And I'm pretty sure everyone we have now, there's 5 of them now in Dallas, is rocking and rolling and gonna kill it this year. Obviously, we've done 2 out of the last 3 weeks that broke records. So there we go. But I mean, to my point of, and as you said it, when you take on the fact of I would say more of as it bettering your company, I mean, may not scaling it, may not, just whatever you're going to do to make your company better. Realize the people that got you there are not going to generally be the people that get you to point two.
Truer words have never been spoken. And you want to keep everyone. I want to keep everybody. I don't want anyone to leave. I want to have people at my company forever. My GM, who's my GM now, but he started with me as a administrative assistant. This July is going to be with me for 30 years. You know, it's incredible. I'd love for to have legacies like that, but that's not the way it works. When you are growing something and it means that it's evolving, not everyone makes the cut. And you talked about accountability, and that's when we start to squeeze. I start to squeeze. We were really light on people, during COVID and afterwards, when we had the big resignation and there was people leaving and people were asking for more money. And I had companies, I had stolen some guys from a company, and guess what? Turnabout's fair play happened to me. I lost a couple of, really good guys that turned out to be replaceable, as everybody is. And I think we're better off for it, but, we didn't hold people accountable like we are now. Yeah. And when people see other people leaving, the A players, we talk about the A players, they're watching. They're not necessarily saying anything, but they're watching. And when the quality gets lowered, or people don't get hammered for making mistakes, the A players don't like that. They want everyone to play the A game, just like anybody that's on a team.
Mark was on my podcast just a couple of weeks ago, and our whole podcast was about accountability, how he has the point system, how I don't have a point system, yet we meet at the same place on where we're at today on how we hold everybody accountable. Just our systems are a little different. So what's your system? Are you on the point system, or what do you do?
So what we do is we have a performance review program. And this program is set up by my MBA type, and her name is Joanna Quintero. She's a smart chick. I'm not as smart as she is. And she's really into systems and processes and data. I am intuitive. I'm tactile. I want to put my hands on things. She set up this performance review program. And so we do all the reviews, and everyone does all the reviews. Our supervisors do everything. And then we rank them. And they get ranked. We have different categories and everything else, and they're ranked. And then guess what just happened? We had to get rid of some people that were not holding it. So guess what? Bottom got cut.
Yeah.
And when they're all ranked, it makes it easier. And then rankings go up. And then we have, a career path, an illustrated career path, which shows everybody what you have to do to get to the next level. So if you're an apprentice installer, it's clearly laid out what you need to do in order to get to installer. And then if you're an installer, what you clearly need to do, all the skills that have to be checked off these boxes. How do you get to be a master installer?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in masonry, because we split masonry, installers, and then we call them sales techs. So we have 3 different divisions, and we're trying to cross train, obviously, in masonry. In order to be a master installer, you got to be able to relate, 10 courses, etc. But those bricklayers are just when I see companies that have integrated with bricklayers, every single one of their guys is a bricklayer, I'm like, that's fantastic. Now they only got 4 crews, total. And that's why they're able to do that. But we're working towards that, to cross train and just have bricklayers on every single truck.
It's one of our biggest things that we're trying to do right now. Our bricklayer right now is the only truck that's booked out for, I think, 4 weeks. Everybody else could do a job tomorrow, roughly.
I know.
Week, but my mason, we only have one mason. We got a couple guys. They're not masons. They're okay bricklayers, but I wouldn't put them on. They could do a rebuild from roof up, no problem. When it comes to a rebuild from ground up and something like to do a facial on the front, no way. our mason comes in and it's like, how the hell do you get it to look that good? I mean, I'm a terrible mason, but I'm good enough for the backyard project, right? I watch this guy and the way they throw the mud and scrape the brick. It's like, I have to acid wash my stuff, because I cannot get it to scrape off like they do it. It's such a great skill. But it's what, if you're a chimney company, the more masons you have, the more money you'll make, and the easier money you'll make too. No doubt.
For sure.
No doubt. And
For
so,
sure.
what's your biggest advice to any company that's trying to grow?
Don't do what I did, and keep your overhead low, and learn your numbers, and find somebody. People ask me, when did you figure it out? And the answer is when I started asking the right people the right questions. And that right person was in 2013, and that was my fractional CFO that I met because we screwed up a job. It happened to be at his house. It was such a bad screw up that I had to go out there personally and figure out what was wrong with it. And we did. And then I met this guy, and then I started a relationship with him. That he said that, hey, I'll take a look at your books. I have a CPA, etc. And turns out that it's a fractional CFO, and he's helping our company, and he's helped our company since 2013. And that's when we really started to see the change. So it's knowing your numbers and identifying at the beginning what the low-hanging fruit is. Then you got to make sure that your pricing is correct. And then you've got to make sure you're not going to sell yourself out of business. And so there's a progression that occurs with knowing your numbers, like Chad was talking about, and did a wonderful job talking about that last year at the expo. Knowing your numbers. And if you know your numbers, everything gets easier. And I look at my business now, and I have to run it by the numbers. It's all numbers. And even when you're smaller, if you just know a few of these numbers, gross profit, of each job, which each type of work that you're doing, if you understand that and you actually look at it, you can see these patterns that are arising. And then if you're job costing, and what job costing is that you find out either ahead of time because you priced everything correctly, or at the end, you do a check to make sure that you're making money on these jobs, and you have to figure out where your mark is on the gross profit. And the gross profit, for you that don't understand it, is revenue minus labor and materials equals gross profit. Then you have all of your overhead, and then there's the net profit at the bottom. And if you understand, and that's that basic stuff, you understand that, you'll never go out of business because you don't know your numbers. But knowing what those numbers are in each column, masonry, appliance installation is going to be different than masonry,
right?
Because masonry bricks are cheap. It's the labor that's expensive. In material, in appliances like a gas insert or a wood stove insert is the exact opposite. So once you understand all those things, and most of you do, but some of you don't, which is why I talked about it, then you're going to make money.
You'll be shocked at how many don't. I mean, that's what's always funny. And so, like I always, like I said earlier, I'm the weekly guy. I'm the guy to show you how to make money and let the accountant do it at the end, like what you're saying. But you got to know I do that by the end of the week. What I teach people is everything you just said on the weekly. Everything you just said, like know how much you did per category for the week, know what you at the end of the month or at the end of the week, also know how much money you made. I mean, how do you not know how much money you made, or you're gonna make next week? That's another thing we haven't got into. I'm big on scheduling for profits. It's one of my biggest thing, and it's so crazy how when I take over a company to help them out, how much money do you have up this week and next week? I don't know. Well, how do you know if you're making money other than your bank account's going up and down? Well, I don't. And so, okay. So That's where the know your number starts. You at least need to know how much money you have up in your scheduling. And then the call center needs a goal to know what you're scheduling, because it's always shocking when we analyze it, we look at the schedule's full. They're busy. Are you making money? You can look at a whole bunch of schedule and it's like you just lost $5,000. And they're like, I can remember two clients I took on last year that were utterly shocked. They knew they weren't making money in some months, and some months that they did because they're in the chimney business. And obviously you can't lose money in the chimney business in the fall. I mean, if you are, you really are, you're not going to be around long. But we're talking about come mid-summer, they're like, I know we're breaking even. I said, are you? Let's find out. I said, so for next week, right, just don't rely on a report. Add up every job that you did and see what your deposit should be and see if that matches your deposit. And let's just see if what your report says is equal to what you actually do. Not even close. Yeah. Both of them had lost like $3,000 to $5,000. And they're like, I had no idea. It's like,
that's why there's something about doing it yourself at the beginning so that you understand how it's done.
Yeah.
And there's just a few things that you need to do. And you like looking at the board and seeing how, on the schedule, seeing what's in there. We do all kinds of tracking. We're very sophisticated because we have to be at our size. Otherwise, it's bad. It would be bad, but we're really sophisticated compared to where we were, even 7 years ago. But one of the things you were talking about just briefly is, and we just started this last week, we don't call it busy season anymore. You know what we call it? Buying season. Because these sales guys, that came out of buying season thinking that they were good salespeople. No, everybody sells in buying season. Okay. Where you become a salesperson is when it's not buying season. So guess what?
Love it.
This is why you have to establish all of these good, performance. Good performance is follow up, present at the job site, then follow up again. And if you're not presenting on the job site, and some of the times you can't, but you should present on the job site. Numbers are as high as 50% if you're not, if you're not presenting.
It's always the goal. Now, like you said, there are those times you can't, but I mean, the goal is to try to get out every bid you can on the job site.
And I'm going to blow some people's minds. Ryan, right now, and I just looked at his closing ratio, which is all calculated in this field management system that we use. Yeah. He's at 74% closing ratio, and he never sells on the spot. I know it's strange. He has a 3-week sales process.
Wow.
It's crazy. So that's why don't do as I say, don't do as I did, do as I say, because you're not going to find, there's not that many unicorns out there. If you can find one, capture it and study it. But otherwise, the regular Joe, like the rest of our guys, are on a 2-day to a week, sales process. Really 1 day to 4 days is really what it is. And the guy that's the number 3 guy sells the most on the spot.
We have a 42 to 52 ratio right now between our guys on closing, and we actually track in-person versus callbacks. And it is like so lopsided on in-person. I mean, you still do sell callbacks. That's your 10% to 20% of callbacks, but it's like 80% in person. It really is. I mean, for us, it's like insane number. And we just started tracking it like 3 or 4 months ago. And I'll tell you, so as you were talking about that a little bit, a point I took is I had just told Cody yesterday. Yesterday. I was driving back from the cabin Sunday. I said, listen, anybody can sell. Like it's exactly what you said. Anybody can sell in the season. So now is the time. Is how you I was talking about management now. Anybody can. Let me revert. Anybody can manage the season in sales. you pop, pop, pop. You're managing the guys. You're doing well. Where the rubber meets the mat is managing the off season. Is managing this off season, and he's done superb. And it's, but I'm like, I had to remind him yesterday. It's like, looking at the schedule, it's pretty bleak, and this is where you really have to pull out the leadership skills, because let's face it, salespeople are like babies.
Yeah, man.
Babies. And you've got to treat them. You got to know when to change the diaper. You got to know when to burp them. You got to know when to coddle them, and right now is the time where you're full on babysitting right now to make sure that they stay, engaged, involved, callbacks, just training, just anything you do, to make sure that they don't lose I only got 7 jobs this week. It's like, well, that's okay. I mean, my guys get a salary. They get a salary if they don't commission out above it. So, I mean, they should have a living wage so they can do it. So it's like, don't go to this mind space to where, it's not buying season. It's off season right now. And so I told Cody, just make sure you manage this correctly. Said, I don't want to lose a good guy because he doesn't have 18 appointments this week, and so it just is what it is.
Managing expectations, and that's the good thing about having guys that have been in the business. They know what it's like. Like, hey, this is nothing new. We had a conversation last week. We do morning meetings for the entire staff, and we do some remote scheduling. And if they have to, check in on Zoom and be on their iPad. But, I said, look, because we hit a wall a couple of weeks ago. In our market. It slowed down. It slowed down in our market. And I said, this is not, we have seen this before. We're going to be okay. We're a good company. We're strong financially. We're going to be fine. But you're going to get less appointments. So what are you going to do with those appointments? You're going to treat them like gold. Yeah. You're going to treat the appointment like gold. You're going to treat the clients like gold. We're going to do this like we've always done it. And we're going to step into the ring. We're going to take our shots and we're going to give our shots. If we get knocked down, we're getting judged on how fast we get up and dust ourselves off. But we're going nowhere where we've never been before. We've all been here before. And we stay positive. We get some guys that we only do 3 appointments a day for our sales guys. That 4th one should not be a sales opportunity. It could be something else, dropping something off, taking some plastic off because we put plastic over for our crowns, crap like that. It should not be another sales opportunity unless it's during the buying season. It is a no heat, and then you're just going to pick that up. But we've gone from 5 days a week. We went to 4.
Oh, wow.
You went to 4. And I thought that it was coddling the babies, because I'd rather have a guy come in and get 1 appointment and then do the callbacks. And that's the difference between, my sales manager and I's thought process. And I haven't decided to pull it back yet because I don't want to give a guy a goddamn day off. To me, that's goddamn day off. That's just the way I look at it. You just gave him a goddamn day off. And so we had that conversation, in the sales meeting last Thursday with all the sales guys. It's not a day off. You need to be in here. You're going to come into the office anyway. You're going to go, through all of your paperwork, and you're going to do some work. I don't care if it's for half a day, but that's how you stay sharp. Iron sharpens iron. That's the way it goes.
So has it resulted in better numbers?
It's just from last week, so it's last
okay.
Thursday.
So they get a vacation day just starting last week.
Well, no, that was the crap that was going on 3 weeks ago. They got a vacation, not a vacation day, but they got a day off. They didn't have to come in. My guys are, they're 100% commission.
Yeah, so are mine.
And when you change over to something like that, you better be careful. And you know this. You have to be careful because you will find a rotten egg that tries to game the system. And they're out there, but
Well,
you,
what we do
them
is,
out.
is we give them a living wage or their commission. So like they'll get $700-800 a week, or they commission above it. So if they have a crappy week, they're still getting $700-800, or whatever. And so, which, right now they might be hitting that a little bit, but I'd say 45 weeks, maybe 42 weeks of the year. They don't even come close to needing that. Not even close. I mean, and if they are, adios. We got to find someone that can hit the numbers, right? I mean, so which is a great circle back here. Jen Passatsky. Circle back to this is when you talk about knowing the numbers, it makes it to where there's no emotion in having to make decisions. It takes the emotion out.
Yep.
And that's what I try to tell people. It's like, listen, I have no problem. This is why I can terminate someone very simply. I feel for them, but if you're not a good sales guy and your numbers aren't there, or if you're a crew leader that isn't hitting at least $12,000 a week in production because of whatever reason, and that keeps going down or is below that, you're not a crew leader. If you can't do at least 12, I mean, that's the bottom number, and I've had guys that would hang at 8 and my general manager and I'd be like, no, we got to put him back. He's not a crew leader. He can't do the work, and so, and it's like, you bring him in, it's like, we love you. And you go back to this, or if there's a sales guy, I'm sorry, it's time to go, because look, you're not hitting the expectations that we have for the position. And it's, sorry to say it, it's just, that's where, and they're never shocked. When you show them the numbers, they're not shocked.
You probably warned them 2 times before that, though.
Oh, of course.
And that's why they're not shocked. You don't just all of a sudden bang them over the head, because you're a nice guy, just like me. We love people. We don't ever want to see people go, but this is a business. It's not playtime. They call it work for a reason. But you've warned them a couple of times. Oh,
you try to coach them. You try to help them. We did.
Yes.
You're doing everything to not get to this point. But when you get to this point, there's only so long, because what happens generally when this happens, they're either out of the gate not right, or something's happened in their life that made it happen, right? And so that's kind of, because like right now, our crews, I mean, I think our newest crew leader right now, other than our Mason, is 2.5 years. That's our newest guy as a crew leader. I mean, like when people ask me, well, how do you train your crews? It's like, I don't remember. They're so good. We haven't had a new crew guy. And what was shocking about us to last year, when we just did shy of 4 million, it was hilarious. I had slated to hire to elevate a couple of helpers just for the buying season, so that we could do more money and then give them a shot, right? We didn't have to. The crews were exceeding my numbers to where we didn't have to hire like more helpers to elevate some of the helpers to have 10 trucks in Dallas. We did it with 7. And it was like, what? How is that even possible? We never could have done that in years past. We've done better training and all that kind of stuff. And the tenure of the guys has made them to where they've done so much better. And so, but knowing the numbers, we actually thought we needed to do 10. And now this year, I'm looking to add 1 crew. And we'll hit 5.5 with only adding 1 truck.
I love it. Those are great numbers.
Thank you. And so, and you know what? I will tell you, I'm heavy, being that I'm not there. I'm heavy on labor, and my bottom end I'm a fat chick. I got a fat bottom. I do. And you know what? And I only do between 8 and 12% depending on the year. And we are looking to figure out how to better that. But hey, I don't have to go to work. I do the coaching, and this is the lifestyle I choose to live. So
yeah. I think that anyone that really knew what your schedule was would be envious, just like I am. But it's you're doing I can't take as many calls as you. I'm not as nice as you are. I'm kind. I'm kind. I'm a kind person. I don't want to be a coach. I am a mentor. I am a mentor. I mentor like 4 people, and I'll mentor more, and that's fine. I don't get paid for it, but it's.
Well, the funny thing we always label me a coach, and I came out saying, coach, I'm way more of a consultant. I do the coaching and I get to people's head and help them that way. And then you transition into mentor, but really at first, when you first get with me, I'm full on consultant, but I am getting into your mindset and help me a little bit of the coaching thing. But I mean, I love the fact, well, I'm actually changing the way I coach right now. I'm stopping doing one-on-ones. I'm going into a full on course / like you can show up to 3 business meetings a week. One of them and 2 of them are orientated to our topic. And then you can talk to me in front of everybody or get the knowledge of what everyone else is asking as well. And then we do an open day, open mic where show up and just ask me questions. Other people can answer them as well. And I built a little course. It's just kind of business 101 for service businesses. And then if you are stuck, you can one-on-one me 15, 20 minutes or text me. And so that way because right now you wouldn't be envious of my schedule. I'm full. I work 4 full 10 to 12 hour days. It's not what I was 3 or 4 years ago when I was coaching 5 to 6 people, making pretty good, working 2 days a week. And then still working. So people realize just because I'm out of operations, until 2 weeks ago, I coached the shit out of my management team. I was on the phone with them 3 times a day. Now, we just made it 2 weeks ago to do the E-Myth. I'm now the true entrepreneur. And it's not working in my head. I can't let go. Yeah. It's hard to let go. But, I'm giving it a shot. They had the first week was that abysmal week. The week before was good, but I was still in the business. The first week was that $32,000 week. It's like, oh, this is a bad week. Then last week they hit the record. They doubled our record, right? 21,000 last week in sales. Like, whoa, and then now this week I looked only because I had to look at, because I deal with the marketing. So I had to deal with the marketing a little bit, and I'm teaching them to do with it. So I had a big, long company text on how to deal with the marketing right now. But I looked just to see how they were doing. And so I did see what we were doing today, and it's not that great. But hey, I'm trying to transition to entrepreneur, and it is definitely it's a new thing in my mind. It is relieving to know that I got them handled. That is awesome. But it's also my baby, and it's been my baby for nearly 26 years now. So it's like, is what it is. And so, hey, Chuck, thanks for coming on.
It's a transition. Well, thanks for having me, and I'll come back anytime.
I know you will. And by the way, you are one of my mentors. I've called you a few times. So I've had to.
I'm happy to be. I am not going to tell you, I will not tell you that I will be correct, but I'll tell you what I think.
Hey, for me, it was great. And when I called you a couple of times, you told me what it was. For me, it was real. You don't even have to be right. You just have to tell me the experience and the wisdom you had. It may be completely wrong, and it wasn't, by the way, but it could be completely wrong. But it's like, this is how I did it. It's like, okay, well, this is how I'm doing it, and it ain't working. So I'm going to shift to something else. And so I appreciate you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right. Everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast. I appreciate all my listeners. Keep that going. I'm so thankful. I'm getting up to 200 downloads almost now a week. It's been wonderful. So with that, I am out, and we'll see you next week.